the lights. Better get right, I'm champion. I'm a team, my team. Talking and taught to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, I'm champion.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the big show. It is YSN Live on this Tuesday, the 18th of March, 2025. DJ Yoakley, the Twigster, right next to me. Anthony Hartwig with you, repping the light blue. Is it blue?
It's gray and gray.
Oh, gray.
It's
Okay.
gray. Yeah, it's gray.
I guess the blue hue is
the blue room.
off
This kind of all that blue.
throwing me off. But my friend, it is the day after St. Patty's Day, and I think everything's starting to roll a little
Hopefully
bit.
everyone recovered by now.
It's a lot of green beer. It's a lot of green alcohol flowing in the streets of Youngstown yesterday, I'm sure. A lot of Irish around here. Are you Irish?
A little bit. I'm
a little bit.
A lot of German because Hartwig is a German name, but there's some Irish in there. And there's a little bit of Native American in there as well. I think Cherokee.
Wow,
if I'm not mistaken. On my mom's side.
Okay. Oh, well, I am German and English, and 100% American. So there you have it.
Heritage is otherwise, but the patriotism, 100% American.
We have a great show for you today. We have Jen Kuntz joining us here. Literally, she's backstage right now. So we're excited for that. We have an all West Branch show as well. Coach Wolf sat down with us, as well as Anthony Perry and Boston Mullinex yesterday, right after the show. So we've got a great show for you. Really excited for you. Anthony, I think you're going to be able to do the best intro for this one because I know you are a huge fan of our next guest.
Yes, the head coach of the United Softball Program outside of the EOAC, coming in hot, and it's a tough conference to be in, but tough conferences mean you got to be a tough coach. And I think Jen Kuntz is the epitome of what it means to be a tough coach. He's going to make sure that the Eagles are ready to go. We're ready to go with this interview. We can't wait to have her on. So without further ado, let's bring her in, the head coach of the United Eagles, Jen Kuntz.
Hi, Jen.
How are you? No warning that I was going right live here.
Yeah, we got you.
Our apologies. When it's YSN Live, anything can happen.
Anything goes.
Anything goes here. Anything goes.
We certainly appreciate you spending some time with us here this afternoon. I know you're crazy busy, especially this time of year. For you, what is the lead up to softball season like? I know some people it's slow and all of a sudden it's a bum rush. But for you, I mean, I feel like you're always busy. You're always involved in the community. What is it like for you leading up to the season rather, and then getting into opening day?
For me, softball season never really ends. So there's no lead up. It just continues from the last one. I help with our youth program and then obviously our high school program. And we had 25 open gyms this year. We played in the athletics tournament. So the girls are used to working already before we get to our official practices.
You had a lot of fun in that athletics tournament over the winter. I mean, talk about what being a part of that meant to this program and how much you learned about your roster and your team, being able to take them indoors and on that turf at athletics that DJ's in right now, and to be able to, see what you got before the season even starts.
The facility is amazing. It's really nice in there. The competition really tough. You have South Range, you have Columbiana, Crestview was in there. I saw them play. They were hitting really well. Howland, obviously, Boardman. You just have all top teams from around the area competing. So Little United competing. We competed very well. We played Poland and Howland both. And I was really happy with how our defense looked. Our offense, I would say, needed some rust knocked off. But in our scrimmages, we've seen the offense pick up. So I'm happy with where we're at there.
Little United seems to always compete no matter who's in the other dugout or who's on the other bench. What is it about Hanoverton, that community, and wearing the blue and gold that always seemingly takes people that play for United to that next level?
I think there are a lot of really committed parents and youth coaches that get kids more involved with lessons, travel, things like that. I mean, for a kid to be a superstar athlete, you have to have superstar parents and coaches who are willing to put in that extra time to get them to that level. So there are definitely kids in our community that are doing all the extra things to be next level type players. I started a little travel team with some 10-year-olds years ago and got those kids started. And there are others. Matt Zines did the same thing. So just having people in the community willing to put in that extra time and effort is what keeps the small schools competitive.
I want to hear about your roster. Can you hit us with some of the big names that are going to make big impacts on the field for you this year? I know there's some faces that we're familiar with, but there's probably some new faces that we have to be familiarized with before the season starts as well.
Sure. We have 12 on the roster this year. I have 2 seniors and 1 junior. So I have some notes, so that's why I'm looking away. I don't want to miss anybody. I have done that before, and we don't want that to happen right now. Grace Coffey and Allie Lacey are my 2 seniors. Grace, she has filled in every hole over the years. When she was a sophomore, she started going to catching lessons at the Billy Dome because we didn't have a catcher. Then her junior year, we got some catching. So she started pitching again and started doing some cage games and things like that. She truly is a kid who is willing to do whatever it takes to help her team. And I have a soft spot for her. I really love her. She is a very selfless teammate. Allie, she obviously also plays basketball at United. Seen her on YSN a few times. She's a super athletic kid with a ton of speed. She'll be playing mostly third base, which is where she's played most of her career, other than filling in some holes. She's a fantastic base runner, put in some off-season work for her hitting, and I'm looking for her to shake things up in the lineup this year for sure. Obviously, you know, I have these 2 seniors, but there are 4 other seniors that their loss to graduation is a huge impact. So these 2 have had to step up in a big way to kind of corral the freshmen and keep the culture and everything the way we like it. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So having 2 seniors kind of lead the way is really important for us. And then I have Josie Wargo, my junior. She is a first baseman, and she was out last year due to a knee injury. So I'm really excited to have her back. I was the assistant coach her freshman year, and then I coached her in youth also. We played in the Tri-T League, their Mahoning, Columbiana, Trumbull County League. And Josie, she is a naturally very gifted glove. Like, you just don't see kids who can pick throws and anticipate things the way she can. So I'm really excited to have her back. And she also can hit for a lot of power. So then my sophomores, Chloe, Brittany, and Kendall Erb, all 3 returning lettermen from last season. Chloe Angelo, she's my hits record holder at United. She had 47 hits last year, which is an insane amount of hits. But Jocelyn Irie was right on her heels with 46. We had a crazy offensive year last year. I got really spoiled. Let's put it that way. But she's back after an incredible freshman season. She can hit for power. She can hit for average. She's quick on the bases. Really good glove, really natural talent. She has a lot of potential. I see her eating up a lot of innings at shortstop and catching. She's a great player, great kid. Brittany Miller, that's my sunshine. We like to call her Brit Barbie. That kid always has a smile on her face. Last year when she came in, she's a left-handed hitter, and Jocelyn took her under her wing and spent some time working on slapping with her, and Brittany took that work very seriously. And I see her continuing to grow in the slapping, and she has a lot of speed, so hopefully she can wreak some havoc on the bases too. She'll play some first base also, and she's a really good outfielder, so I'll see her in the outfield as well. And then Kendall Erb, we call her Kenny. She spent a lot of last season in the DH role as a hitter. She can hit for a ton of power, but this kid has a work ethic like no other. She's a really selfless teammate, and she's always jumping up to help the coaches. She's the first one setting up, first one tearing down, chronically early to everything. And I feel bad when I show up and Kenny's already there, but she's just one of those kids that's super committed and loves to play and loves to compete and loves to do well. So I really want to see her keep working at her hitting. She put a lot of time into lessons, and she can absolutely murder a softball. So I look forward to that growth, and probably play some third base and outfield for us as well. And then my freshmen, and there are a lot of them. I have 6 freshmen this year. 4 of those freshmen are kind of all year players that play travel. 3 of them started out with me on my Slam Force team many years ago. But all of them I've coached through the years at the youth level too. So I know them all really well. The first one I'll talk about is Jillian Dietrich. Jilly, she is a pitcher, and she'll play some outfield and maybe some infield. Honestly, I could probably plug her in anywhere and she'd be okay. She's put in a lot of work. Like I said, we had 25 open gyms, and a lot of these freshmen were at most of them. I look forward to seeing what she can do. She's put in a ton of work with her pitching this year, and she's performed very well in our scrimmages. Peyton Keckel, another year-round player. She's pitcher and second base. Super fast, true utility type player. She definitely will see some pitching time this year. Second base primarily, I think, and then maybe some outfield. She can hit for a lot of power. She can hit for average, but her speed definitely sets her apart. She can do some damage on base. Caitlin Roller, she has some catching experience, and she's another just next level type work ethic kid. Super hard worker, really just wants to be successful. She's a great teammate, put in a ton of work this season, and she has freaky fast hands, like some of the fastest hands I've ever seen in the box ever. I'm really excited to see what happens for her this season, because like I said, when these kids put in a lot of work, you want to see them succeed for sure. And then Miley Pitts, she's a hilarious kid, and she's been funny since she was little. So she definitely lights up the dugout. She's another kid who plays year round. I see her in the outfield and middle infield. Smart player. She can hit for power. She can hit for average. She's been playing travel since she was young, so the experience is definitely there for her. I just look forward to seeing her continued development and see where she contributes. And then Ella Mobley, she joined us later in the off season, decided she wanted to kind of come back to softball after some years off, but she's really put in a lot of work to kind of catch up to the other girls who were working. She's really athletic, really fast kid. So the sky's really the limit for her. She has a really natural beat to the ball in the outfield. She can read it really well. So I think if she sticks with it and keeps putting in the work, she can find a lot of success. And the last freshman I'll talk about is Callie Coons. She is a catcher, utility type player. She's pretty polished. She does catching and hitting lessons and spends a lot of off-season time working on her game. So mostly see her at catcher and shortstop this season. Yeah, that's everybody.
Seems to be a special group of freshmen you have coming up, especially that last one. If I caught that, I was gonna say if I caught that last name. So I guess my question, I always ask coaches that have kind of top heavy or top heavy underclassmen is expectations for seniors. I mean, you've got to be able to, obviously you've got great seniors, 2 great seniors coming in that have to share that leadership component that you're providing and your coaching staff provides. But how do you get the experience factor up and you make them from freshmen, sophomores, and juniors to really veteran players that can really combat this EOAC, which Anthony and I both believe is going to be a great conference in softball this year?
Well, it helps when they put in the kind of off-season time I was talking about, play in a tournament like at athletics. Some of them played in that Tri-T league, and I moved them up to the classic division, which was the higher level of competition this year, just to try to get them ready, because I knew we have 2 seniors and they would be outnumbered by these freshmen coming in. So it's asking a lot for them to kind of get them to that level that we want them to be at. But 4 of these guys already play all summer. They've seen their opponents in the summer, so I'm not too worried about that. Experience matters, and the varsity level is a little different, but they've all been playing for a long time. So I think if they want to put in the work, they can definitely contribute right away.
When you have a roster that's 9 out of 12 underclassmen, do you stop and think about how kind of locked in this roster is going to be for the next couple of years and feel like the program's in a pretty good foothold for the future?
I've never thought about that, Anthony.
Never once.
That's like super exciting. You have 3 upperclassmen. So this is a group that can build together, kind of get used to each other. That's a huge advantage when you have these teams. Like Columbiana has a group of seniors that have all been playing varsity together for 4 years. It's a huge advantage, especially when they're great players. So it's definitely exciting for the future, but I don't want to say they can't do anything yet. I think they're going to be pretty competitive this year.
You mentioned the conference a little bit. You talked about Columbiana. I mean, What is it about this conference in particular in softball that is always competitive and anybody can win on any given night?
I think you have the small school aspect. Someone could be sick, someone could be injured, and if one person is out, that changes everything on almost any team because our numbers are so limited. But of course, Columbiana, they have girls that have been playing for a long time, very seasoned players, very experienced, very talented group they have there right now. And they have some really good underclassmen too. It's not just the seniors. East Palestine and Leetonia both had teams in that Tri-T conference this year. So they're putting in extra work with kind of that underclassmen age of girl, trying to get them developed. There's a lot of talent, certainly, in the EOAC.
What about outside of the EOAC? What are some teams that pop up that you're really excited to, test yourself against and get yourselves ready for that tournament?
Well, we're heading to Myrtle Beach actually Saturday. So we could have saved this for then. I could have done my interview on the balcony with you guys. But so we'll play Mayfield. They're D2 in Ohio. We'll play Worthington Christian. We'll play Clay County out of West Virginia. They're also a lot bigger than us. So just trying to play bigger schools and maybe different competition. I want to be careful with scheduling D6s now that our divisions have changed. Like, we don't want to see too much of each other before we get to districts. So I'm also playing Carrollton and Beaver Local and Southeast, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but trying to just beef up the schedule and play those bigger teams towards district time so that we're more prepared.
Jen, my last question for you is, what are your expectations for this team? What do you want your calling card to be? Do you think it'll be the same all year, or do you think this team will grow throughout the year and develop into something different than you see on opening day?
I think we'll definitely continue to grow and develop. I still personally have some question marks. They're so young and you don't know where they're going to fill in quite yet. So who we are today is not who we will be when it's time to make that district run. I think they have a lot of lessons to learn still, but they also have worked really hard. And I think that all that hard work will pay off for them.
And then, Jen, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to talk about your coaching staff and the people behind you that make this United program run as smoothly as it does. We know that you don't do it by yourself, and there's people behind you that do a lot of work for you. So give them a shout out and some limelight before we let you go here. Sure.
Matt Zines and Stacy Zines are my assistant coaches, which they are obviously familiar names with United Softball. Matt is... I actually made notes on this because I knew you would ask. So let me get to that page. Matt is definitely kind of the expert, I would say. He's really good at creating drills for problems we have. He knows the game really well. And he and Stacy both are really good culture builders. So we try to keep the girls, like I said, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if we're not doing the little things right, the big things aren't going to be right. And that attention to detail is definitely a big strength of both of theirs. Stacy, last year we started some mental training. When we went to some coaches clinics, this was a big theme where they're doing a lot of mental training. So we decided this is something we should do. And Stacy's kind of in charge of that. And she definitely is my voice of reason and my sounding board. And she has come up with some really great ideas to keep these girls in line and strengthen them mentally as well as physically as players.
I mean, if your team's as prepared for the season as you were for this interview, Eagles are going to be flying high in Hanoverton. They're going to be flying high.
Next time we're going to have to get
a great year. We should have a great year.
Next time we're going to have to get some questions that you don't have notes for, though, to test you a little bit,
I like to be really prepared.
We threw some curveballs, and it was like you had them on your paper. I don't know how you did that because I don't even know what the hell I'm going to ask half the time. Jen, we're so proud of you. We're so happy that you were able to stop by. We're rooting for you. Obviously, we wish you a ton of success this year. And if you need anything from us, always we're a call away. So thank you for stopping by.
All right, thank you guys so much.
You got it. There she goes, the head coach of the United Eagle softball team, Jen Coons. And I don't think I've ever had anybody as well prepared as Jen was right there.
I think you did some film study. Went back and watched every interview we've done.
First off, they're gonna ask. If that's the case, poor her for having to watch a couple of idiots talk on the questions that we come up with. But no, I mean, you look at what she has coming. You can tell there's an excitement in Hanoverton. You can tell that the people of United are very excited about this program. The freshmen coming in, I mean, they're uber talented. They're, to say the least, uber. And I used uber because of this, the U. But it's one of those things like you don't want to pass off the seniors because it's their time to shine, right? But you can't help but get excited for what you have on your roster now. And obviously the experience. I was interested about her answer with the experience because not everybody out there, as you know, is going into athletics tournaments and off-season tournaments and, filling in leagues to get those reps to try to bring them up to speed. So kudos to the United coaching staff for doing that because I think that's going to be a leg up this entire year and then moving forward in their careers.
And I think one of the things that makes teams like United with an upcoming freshman class that has a lot of talent a little bit dangerous is some of the teams they're going to play won't know necessarily a lot about these freshmen. There's not a lot of books on them. There's not a lot of scouting on them, not a lot of video on them. So you're going to have to go into those games a little bit blind on how to pitch to this girl or how to defend, the slappers or all that fun stuff. And that can sneak up on you if you're playing a team that maybe doesn't know you as well. Because of the freshmen that you have on the roster. 2
hitters last year for United had over 90 hits combined.
It was a race for the record. And I think they both actually broke the previous record that says who was going to finish on top.
That's incredible. I mean, that's and you think about what that becomes because now people are going to be looking and say, hey, there's a lot of attention being, I just got to get some hits. And I mean, some like 46. In a year, which is, it's a little bit of a challenge, but they did it. Yeah, 2 of them that did it. So you look at that and you can see there's a push being made on hitting and offense. And you heard Jen talk about one of her underclassmen with some of the fastest freaky hands you've ever seen. And that translates, to offense. If you got fast hands, that means a lot of things. You can get to the ball. You can wait just a little bit, longer for that pitch, and then you can adjust. So there's a lot of stuff that is we're looking forward to for United. So I'm geeked. I'm real excited to see.
I'm excited to follow them and these players. They better live when we get them on. They better live up to the personality that.
They better study up.
Teed them up, study up, get prepared.
Hey, we're coming with the curveballs now. Now Jen set the tone. We got to throw them all off. Unfortunately, we didn't throw anybody off from West Branch yesterday with our questions. They were cocked and ready to go.
The Mean
where do you
Green
want to start
Machine.
here? Yeah, where do you want to start here? You want to start with Boston?
Yeah, let's go Boston. And, let's just do the order we did them, right? Let's just go with that.
Okay.
We did the interviews, Boston, Anthony, and then Coach last. So let's
set this up from a standpoint of, I mean, you're talking about the 2024 state champion West Branch Warriors. And you're talking about a team that everybody looks to and they go, they lost this, they got a new head coach, and from the interviews that we did yesterday, and people will obviously get to see it here shortly. I don't think they lost as much as people were hoping. I feel like they're filling in very nicely over in Beloit. And my, oh my, if that is the case, what a run they're going to be in for in 25.
Yeah, I mean, I get they did lose Bo Austin. He was kind of one of those once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation type players. You don't see a lot of 6'6" pitchers that are able to sling it the way he was able to last year. But you look at the depth they still have. And people forget that he wasn't the only pitcher that did things the right way on their team last year. They had guys come in and give them a lot of quality innings. I could be wrong. If I'm mistaken, I'm sure someone will let me know. I think he started the state semifinal, and then someone else started the championship. So
I think it was Perry.
Yeah, I think Perry started the championship, got the dub. So they got some guys on the mound. Everything starts with pitching in baseball, and I think a lot of people might be a little bit relaxed because they lost one of the guys that got most of the attention in Bo Alasas. But West Branch pitching is still going to be what carries them. They're going to be a very defensive pitching quality team. They'll score when they have to for sure, but you're going to have to find a way to scrap together runs to beat this West Branch team, just like you did last year.
So without further ado, we open up the West Branch segment of the show the rest of the way, and we lead off with the record breaker, the athlete extraordinaire, Mr. Boston Molnix. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. YSN Live, DJ Yokley, Anthony Hartwig with you. We got some green just past St. Patty's Day, as the time everybody's looking at this right now. And when we're talking about green, there's only one team you can really think of when it comes to baseball, and that is the West Branch Warriors. And we have a couple players to talk to today, and naturally one of them, the leader of that team, seemingly for as long as we can remember, Boston Molnix. We're excited to have him. We'll bring him on in just a minute. But when you're thinking about West Branch, obviously state title comes to mind because they're fresh off of it. What are your expectations for this team this year, Ant?
Well, anytime you're coming off of a state championship, I think the expectations go through the roof. And I think the thing about West Branch this year, they're going to have to make sure that their standards and their expectations stay in the building and they don't listen to any of the outside expectations that come with that success that can really bring unwanted pressure and kind of, of this unnecessary pressure to your team. Just keep the success and the standards inside your own building.
Well, let's talk to the main man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we bring in a state champion, a leader, not just on the field and the diamond, whatever playing surface he's on, but one in the community. He is the one that every boy growing up in Beloit wants to be like. Ladies and gentlemen, Boston Molnix. What's up, Boston? How are you, dude?
Good. How are you guys?
We're well. Thank you very much. We appreciate you taking some time out. Obviously, you guys defending state champs. You want to be able to defend it this year. There's a lot of expectations. We talked about it a little bit in the pre-show. For you, what are some of those expectations you feel that are going to be expected of what you guys bring to the table this year?
Yeah, I think this was pretty evident last year. You're going to see a team that's going to play the game the right way. Don't really have too many guys that are very flashy or that will stand out, as one of our top guys in the state. But, we're all our chemistry together is pretty well, and we're just going to play the game the right way. And obviously it can lead to good things sometimes. And I think obviously expectation is pretty high after last year, like you guys have said. But, we're going to play baseball our way, and, we're going to work as hard as we can, and we'll see what happens.
Boston, I'm going to ask you about the things that I said before we brought you on. I'm sure you guys hear a lot of outside expectations and people telling you what you should and should accomplish this year outside of your own locker room, outside of your own dugout. How do you kind of keep it contained to just what the team standard is and what the team expectations are for yourselves?
Yeah. Actually, last year too, we had pretty high expectations as well, and we, as a team, were able to manage it pretty well. Dealing with outside noise from other teams, other coaches, other players, and it was always just about us. As long as our players kept the we over me mentality that we did the entire year, I think we stick with that this year. We're gonna have good things to come again.
It's easy, obviously, to sit there and say, "Hey, we want to repeat." Right? Because that's easier said than done always, as you guys know better than anybody. How do you keep your mindset in a kind of locked into a game by game basis? Because you don't want to get too far out over your skis. But obviously you guys have the talent to repeat if indeed you want to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was pretty much going to say what you just said. Even last year we had the one game at a time mentality. Like, you can't play the next game until you finish this one first. Like when we were playing Kenston in the regional championship to make it to state, we weren't scouting ahead yet. We were focused right on Kenston. And then once we win that game, then we can move on to the next one and try to plan for that.
Of course, the hard-hitting questions we're asking are all about how you're dealing with outside noise and expectation and all that. But let's just talk about the confidence level of this team, right? You're coming off a state championship. You got to celebrate that last year. That's got to give you guys a lot of just, unbridled confidence going into this year that there's no reason why you can't go and run it back.
Yeah, obviously there's some confidence, but, a lot of us as a team, it was try not to get our heads too big, like obviously we won it last year. It was a great experience, but, we might be good again, but it's not the same team. And you just got to start back from square one again. Everyone's record 0-0 when you start the year this year. So, yeah, last year was fun and nice, but that's out of the picture now. Anybody can go and get it this year.
New faces, new places. Obviously, you have a very familiar last name when it comes to leadership of the West Branch Warriors. Coach Wolf, he's been around the block too, and obviously he's a great leader in his own right. What things do you have to expect from him? I mean, when you're talking about trying to fill in a state champion head coach that you know pretty well, what are some of the things that you're expecting from your head coach this year?
Yeah, my dad and Coach Wolf, they have a great relationship together, as well as all the coaches on our staff. And my dad was planning on him taking over for a while. But like, he was going to be an assistant my senior year and let somebody else take over. But he's a great coach. We trust everything he does. Even last year, the stuff that he was doing, he's still incorporating that this year. He's still our infield coach. He's still my coach. And pretty much like the roles that they had as coaches last year were kind of shared, and they're still going to be shared this year. There hasn't been like a really shift of power, I guess. It's been, now it's just, instead of my dad's name going on the lineup sheet, it'll be his name. But even last year, he had a big role in our team. I believe that without Coach Wolf or my dad or Coach Alazaz, any of the coaches we had on our staff, what we did last year isn't accomplished.
And with everything staying kind of the same, like you said, besides the name that goes up on the lineup sheet, I do want to ask, what are some stylistic differences maybe between Coach Wolf and your dad that you'll see as a head coach? How do they coach differently?
Look at that smile.
What are
Look at
changes?
that smile.
Yeah.
He knows it. He knows
it. Personally, it's a little different because, my dad can get as hard on me as he wants and nothing's going to happen, where I think if he did some of the stuff he did, he probably wouldn't be a coach. But, just their personalities are a little bit different. Coach Wolf's more of kind of, let's have a positive outlook on everything. You make an error. Okay, your last 4 ground balls, you haven't made an error. So look at that. Where my dad would kind of, his mentality would be like, don't make another error, if that makes sense. And it's good to have both. It's all about knowing what kind of kids you have and what you can say to each kid. And they both do a really good job at that.
Now, obviously, we've talked about the leadership styles of your head coach changing. From you going to last year, this year, have you felt your leadership style change at all?
Yeah, kind of. Obviously during football, it was, a little bit more of a leadership change, going from our senior quarterback, Bo Alazaz, who's at Walsh now. He's also on that team. But, settling in JT at quarterback, who's also on our team as a junior with not very much quarterback experience, really kind of having to help him out, which he did a good job too. But, this year it's kind of all those guys that started last year on that state team. Like, we had all been playing together for such a long time. We were all leaders around each other, if that made sense. Now with half of those guys gone, we're going to have guys that we haven't, aren't as familiar with, but are still our teammates. And we're going to have to help them, develop and get back to where we were.
By the way, can we just say, I know this is a baseball interview, but what a fantastic football season you had.
Thank you.
Incredible just year that you had, especially like you said, you had some more responsibilities put on your shoulders as far as leadership and what you were able to do on the ground, man. We haven't seen a season like that in a long time.
Thank you.
So congratulations on that. But as we shift more to baseball again, what are some of the things that you're focusing on this year that you think you want to kind of improve on, or things that you're trying to, get better at as a baseball player this year?
Me personally, or just us as a team?
Yeah, you personally. What's on your goal board?
I'd like to have a little bit better of an offensive season than I did last year. But me struggling last year offensively, we was picked up by everybody else in the lineup, defensively, offensively, pitching. I didn't really have the offensive season I wanted to have, but they had my back, and we were able to get it done as a team. So I'd like to be able to put the bat on the ball a little bit more this year. There's always room for improvement, especially in a sport like baseball where there's so much failure. Trying to be a better base runner, trying to make less errors in the infield, all of that.
Not easy to be a multi-sport athlete like yourself, but it's also not easy to have to make tough decisions when it comes to, if you want to play something at the next level, when you've done so much in every sport seemingly that you've played in. For you, how do you want to play at the next level, or is your intention to play? Do you want to be a multi-sport athlete at the next level as well, or are you going to try to narrow it down as you kind of navigate those waters?
Yeah, I'll just be playing football in college. At Baldwin Wallace, just football, no baseball, which is sad. I love baseball. I love the sport. My dad's always been my coach. I'm going to miss it a lot, but football is my calling. Was
it a tough decision?
Actually, we kind of knew this decision was going to happen for a while now. The summer before my sophomore year, I tore my labrum in my shoulder. It was going to be a 9-month recovery. It didn't hurt to play football, only hurt to play baseball. It was kind of, you have to make your decision now which one you want to do. And I chose football then. So that's been my goal for about 3 years now.
We're proud of you, man. That's awesome. That's to be able to, anytime you're able to play at the next level, but I'm certain you would have had your pick, had you been healthy from that standpoint. And probably even so now, people would be like, yeah, we're good with the labrum. Like, if you just want to come and be part of our team. Right. And I know they've got some great sports, obviously great teams at B-Dub. So congratulations, man. We're proud of you here. And thanks for representing the area so well.
And talk more about B-Dub and what kind of made you want to go there. What made it feel like the right spot for you to land, and what went into that decision?
Yeah. So, obviously, our state championship run cut into June and kind of took away some of the recruiting I would have had during that summer. Actually, a lot of people don't know this either. About a week after our state championship game, I tore my groin off my bone during practice and ended up playing the entire year of football on it. I just had surgery in December. I'm all good from that now, starting baseball back up. But being hurt that whole summer kind of killed. I couldn't go to any camps. I was strictly just taking time off to get ready for the season, in hopes that it would feel better, but it didn't. End up being torn. So, that's a big summer recruiting wise, going into your senior year, going to camps, talking to colleges and stuff. And I kind of ended up missing out on that whole summer. But, right around that time, BW started reaching out, got me up for a few visits, one of the game, had another visit after the season was over. And it was just the brotherhood I felt up there with, their coaches, their players, their guys. And I feel like they're headed in the right direction. It's just a place I want to be a part of now.
Boston, I think that one of the things that I like about you most, your game, is, you do a lot of great things in the X's and O's, but dude, mentally, you might be one of the toughest sons of guns I've ever seen, met in my entire life.
Thank you.
You just talked about those injuries. There's a lot of kids, there's a lot of people that won't play hurt. They won't play injured. Mm-hmm. You have gone through bumps, bruises, tears, all that stuff. What is it about the mentality of you're going to fight through it no matter what? And what would you tell someone who is, I don't want to say soft, but you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell someone that, hey, every time you get hurt, you got to pull yourself out of the game or take yourself away, from a teammate standpoint? Why do you keep going?
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, first of all, there's a difference. If I know that I'm going to, if I can go back out, I'm going to hurt myself even more, then there's a difference. But, once I knew, hey, it's just going to be pain, you're not going to be able to hurt it any worse, then I love football. I love baseball. I want to play. I don't want to sit there and watch the game I love being played without, and I like knowing that I can go out and play, it's going to hurt, but I'd rather play. It's just, I love the game and I want to be able to play. And sometimes, you're not always going to feel your best, especially in some cases, maybe the whole season, but I knew I had one more year of high school football and I didn't want to miss it.
I like that you said there are some days where you don't feel the best. I'm sure there were days in the football season, maybe even now in the baseball season, where you just like, man, I'm not feeling it right now. But you have that fire. You have that fire that keeps you going. Mm-hmm. What's your fire? What's the thing that keeps you passionate about wanting to be there for your teammates and wanting to play this sport?
Yeah, I love the teammates I have around me. I love the West Branch community. And, I think it's the kind of the precedent that was set by West Branch, being a blue-collar community. Like, we have all the people that live in this town, whether they're sick, whether they're hurt, they get up and they go to work every day and they collect their paycheck. And it might not be the best work, it might not be the most fun, but they still do it. And I think, I take pride in playing at West Branch and, being a part of that, to where looking up at people like my dad, my grandpa, and my grandparents, like if he woke up and he was not feeling perfect, I know he's still going to be at work and he's going to be there on time. And that's just something I take pride in, and try to, translate that to the football field, baseball field as well.
Dude, I love that everything about you is green except your collar, because you are a blue collar kid, lunch pail kid, and fun to watch. You've been incredible to watch over your career. We are all better for being able to witness it. We're grateful for you and everything that you've done for the sport of football and baseball. And dude, cannot wait to watch you take the diamond for one more year. Thank you so much for the time that you spent with us today. And go green. Go green.
Go green.
Thanks, Boston. Appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to YSN Live. DJ Yokley, Anthony Hartwig with you. And it is, it is a little bit past St. Patty's Day. Day past, if we're being honest. But everybody celebrated all weekend. It was kind of wild. Mm-hmm. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I guess anytime that you can drink green stuff, no matter if it's alcoholic or not.
It's a good excuse. It's a good excuse.
It's a good excuse. Just let it ride for 4 days. But we are celebrating green today, right here on YSN Live, with another player profile for the West Branch Warriors. Young man who was pretty influential when it came to a state championship just a year ago. Young man who has come a long way. And, last ride for AP. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we bring in one of the best this area has to offer. We bring in a gentleman and a scholar and a hell of a baseball player. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Perry.
How's it going?
What's up, AP? How are you, brother?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, not as good as you, naturally, for a lot of different reasons. But what I can tell you is you are one of the most electrifying baseball players that our area has to offer. And a lot of people want to know, obviously, that ride, you got a lot. It's a state championship. You're going to get a lot of pub. But for you, now that you've had a chance to kind of, look at things from a 2,000-foot view and look back, what is the whole ride last year to this point? What has it been like?
Crazy. You can't really put it into words until you experience it. Especially last year with the group we had and growing up together and knowing who's going to be at practice every day and who's going to, it's just, you're comfortable with the guys you were with. And honestly, the games were awesome, but Coach Monix will say this even, the van rides going up. Oh my gosh. Those are some things you won't forget. And, once you get in the postseason, it's all travel. So that's all we did. And honestly, it kept us so close, and it even got us closer than we were, and it really, give all the credits to that. And just seeing everybody show up. It was unbelievable.
If the rides were the best, I'm assuming the ride back home after a state championship was the best yet.
Even better. Yeah.
I mean, describe that ride back.
Yeah. I mean, we're playing music. We're telling jokes. We're talking about the game. Obviously, we're talking about all the text messages we're getting. It's unbelievable. It really is.
When you think about, you guys will be talking about that for decades to come. Anytime you guys get together, I'm sure it's going to be one of the first things that pops up. Right. To be able to share that experience with guys, and it wasn't even your senior year. Right. Do you feel pressure kind of coming back this year and, everybody looking at you saying, well, you have to live up to the 24 team, or do you feel it as it's a personal challenge and, you guys could be potentially a back-to-back state champion?
We can always, you can always say it, but just putting in the work every day, showing up and listening to, the adjustments and the things we're going to make and going just day by day, honestly, taking it day by day and just getting better. I mean, that then leads up to those last couple of weeks that are fun and what makes baseball special.
Your team is unique from almost every other team we're going to interview this season in the sense that you won the last game of the year. And we usually ask other teams how much the loss at the end of the season made them hungry to come back this year. What makes you guys hungry? There's no loss to end the season. So what's got you guys hungry this year?
Add another ring to the finger. Just showing up and getting better every day, honestly. Just doing that and having fun with your buddies and again, just taking it day by day. You can just get better doing that. And then, those expectations will then kick in and you see what you end up at the end of the year.
AP, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, I know, what are you, 17, 18 right now? You've been doing this since 19. So you've been doing this extra long. Yeah. So for you, this is your last ride. You told us this is it for you. You're just going to go. I say just going to go. You're going to go and get a great education. Yeah. So for you, have you thought about the string of last, the last string of playing competitive varsity baseball and what, you expect your emotions to be like during this year?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it too much just because I almost don't want to. Sure. But then, I mean, once those, I'm just trying to enjoy every moment I have and even practice, I'm trying to just get better myself and trying to help other guys that maybe not, see the field last year or a little time, just try and help them get better and try and help us to be a better baseball team overall. And, I'm really once those last couple of weeks come up, it'll be bittersweet, but I'm just trying to get better right now. And at the end of the year, I guess we'll worry about that.
It's probably a lot easier to not think about it during the football season because the school year is just starting. You really don't feel like a senior yet at that point. Yeah. Now you got a couple of months left before you graduate. I'm sure that senioritis is starting to kick in too.
Oh yeah.
Trying to really feel like a senior. What's it like to kind of balance that and try to, power through this senior season, but also you're so close to being done and on to your next chapter in life?
Right. Well, actually, so me and Boston have a pretty nice perk over here. We get to come in at like noonish. So that gives us a little time with, leveling things out with sports and academics, obviously. And, just getting my stuff done first and then, having fun at baseball or, football, whatever it is. It's been nice. It's been smooth riding that, honestly, this senior year.
I mean, we see the flag all over the place every time West Branch plays in something. Beloit versus the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you guys honestly feel like that this year? Because we talked about the expectations, but I think once you win a state championship, there's a lot of people that, number one, see you with a big green target on your chest and your back, and then number two, some people want to see you fail. Some people want to say, hey, they weren't the team that everybody thought they were when you guys were the underdogs seemingly all year and snuck up on everybody. And you know what? Came out with the championship title. So, I mean, do you feel like it is Beloit versus the world, especially this year?
Yeah, we kind of live by that, honestly. Whatever, we have a saying like nothing matter. Like the only people that matter are in the locker room. those are the guys that you battle it out with every day. You know, we kind of block out that old noise, you know, what's being said in the locker room and what the guys are saying and what we're doing. And that's what we do. And nobody's going to change it. You know, that's just how it's been, even in football and basketball. But yeah, we live by, it's either the West Branch way or, you know, no way, honestly.
You know, football, basketball, they're both seasons that take a while. You know, you start football in the summer and it wraps up in November. You start, you know, basketball in November, wraps up in right. February or March. You're starting baseball into March and it's wrapping up, you know, in May. It's a very quick sport for you guys in June because that's where you want to go. Yeah. But it's probably the most condensed sport out there. Talk about what it's like to just go through the grind of baseball and you know, not get caught up in 5 games in 5 days, which I know you'll probably have a couple of weeks like that due to weather. What's it like to go through a season like that?
Right. Honestly, I mean, we had a good week of weather last week. And then we got outside, but other than that, like, we've been in the gym and that's where we've been. Trying to find a way to get better in the gym. That's what's helped us, you know, all these past years. Doing what we can with what we have and just getting better and being together and spending time talking about things. We honestly spend a lot of time in the locker room doing nothing, but we go over things on the whiteboard. And it helps out a ton to then where you get to practice it outside or in the gym. It's easier and goes way smoother. So, you know, trying to take every opportunity, whether that's in the gym, in the parking lot, or down at the field, we're just trying to get better.
What I like about your team the most, and what about your run last year, is you guys felt like the 04 Boston Red Sox. I mean, nobody gave you a shot. I mean, you just personalities galore. We talked to Boston earlier. I mean, he's got the toughness down. That dude is nails when it comes to how tough he is. But dude, you're the swaggy one. You're the guy that kind of brings the juice a little bit. How did you develop that kind of personality, and does it help you when you're, you know, out on the field, out on the bump?
Yeah, I've had that ever since I've started playing sports. No matter what I don't care if we're playing video games, if we're playing chess, like it doesn't matter. I want to beat you, and it's for me. I'm better than you. Like, that's just the mindset I have. I have always had it. And when I'm on the field, in my head, I'm the best player. And it's helped me. It really has. It makes just me lock in and do my job. You know, I'm just doing my job. Boston's doing his job, you know, doing their own job. And then that's what carries on the success.
Is there just follow up, Ant? Is there a button or switch that you can turn on mentally that, you know, even when maybe you're not, you know, feeling so swaggy or feeling so confident that you can click it in, like dancing, or like what is it that you're not confident in that you can hit that button and you go?
Honestly, if you give me a little caffeine, I'll go rolling. But other than that, I mean, I usually have it, you know, most of the games. But if I don't, yeah, Boston will get into me or something.
Is there something in your life that you're not confident in necessarily that you've had to kind of go get that juice?
I think I said this on last year's show, but school.
Not confident in school.
No.
But you got it done, man, and you're going to get an education.
Yeah, it's almost done, right?
Trust me.
You start back at the bottom as freshman year next year. So, you know, I know you're a good sport, you're a good sportsmanship, all that, but I'm guessing with the way you're talking, you're probably a pretty good trash talker. If it's the video games, if it's chess, whatever it may be.
Oh boy.
What's your trash talk level at? Like, are we a good? I mean, like, rate yourself from 1 to 10.
Oh man, probably like an 8 or 9. But
yeah,
I will say if somebody says something, then it goes up by like 10. So
do you? With your trash talk, there's different ways. You strike me as someone who can kind of interpret what they say and just have absolute fire coming back. Is that it? Honestly, or do you have like premeditated trash?
Honestly, I don't know. It's honestly the opposite. It's just comes up. Like, I don't have anything like it just, it really just comes up out of the blue, or like, you know, like someone saying something, and then it's like, it'll take me a minute. Honestly, it will. And then I'll get going. But.
I love it. All right. Last question for you. I know West Branch, I know Beloit, how much it means to you as a whole. For you, this last year, this legacy that you're going to leave, people are going to remember AP, Anthony Perry, for something. What do you hope that thing is?
Honestly, just being a good teammate, helping people when they need help or if they're asking a question, because I've been there where some guys might have not, and they need that help. I want to be a good teammate and get them to understand something that they might not, and just be there for them if they're struggling, because baseball is not easy. There's a lot of failure. There's a lot of uncertainty. So just being there for them and being a good teammate and helping out as much as I can is all I got.
AP,
my last one for you. I just want you to take some time to shout out the people in your life that have gotten you to where you are, your support system, and the people that mean the most to you.
Yeah, obviously my parents, my sister, and then all my coaches and teammates here and teachers that I've had. I mean, everybody that's involved, TK, our athletic trainer, and everybody, honestly, everybody. And the West Branch community too. I got to give them a shout out because they're nuts. They're all over the place. They're at every game. Even if it's March. And then obviously in June they showed out. So everybody.
AP, we appreciate you so much, man. We're big fans. We're rooting for you. Can't wait to see you hopefully hoist that trophy again this year, and a big old smile on your face and the swagger that comes with it.
I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Perry. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. YSN Live. We have a coach's corner that you are not going to want to miss. A guy who takes over for a state champion team. He was on the coaching staff last year, and now he takes over as the lead dog. The guy on the bill, ladies and gentlemen, a gentleman that has been with us, YSN, for a long time. We've been a fan of for a long time. You've heard his golden pipes right here on the network. This time we bring in the new head coach of the West Branch State Champion Warriors, Ryan Wolf. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Great to see you. First of all, man, it's great to have you here. The question everybody wants to know: what is it like taking over as the lead dog, the head coach of a returning state championship team?
You know what? It's honestly not that different. Here's the thing: like, our staff is the exact same as it was last year.
Right.
I just became the guy that makes the practice plans and the one that, talks to newspapers and the media, and Coach Molinex kind of gets to sit back a little bit and just coach. But like last night, him and I were on the phone for an hour talking about what we were going to do today. Overall, it's a very similar feel. We talk about returning state champions. I mean, we're just a baseball team that works to get better every day. So we know where we can get to. And that's maybe a little bit different. It's not this thing that everybody's looking at and it's a pipe dream. It's something that we can achieve. And I think our guys know that, and how they work and the effort they do. But as far as like being the guy in charge, we all work together, and ultimately it's really it's very similar to what it's always been.
Yeah, the difference is now you're the one that the arrows are pointing at, right? So what's that like to know that like your name's on every decision that gets made and your name's on the W&Ls and that's kind of, with the newspapers, like you said, the media is out there. It's kind of you now instead of Coach Molinex. What's that aspect of it like?
I was at Columbiana for 8 years as head coach. So to me, I'm used to a lot of that. Decisions I make that, I own them. The decisions that we make as a staff, I own them. So, I never put it back on anybody else but myself, whether it's win or loss. So, there's going to be people out there wondering especially if we get off to a slow start, or if we have a little bit of a dry spell, what's the reason, and am I the reason? But I don't really listen to that. I know we do the right things every single day. We're trying to create great young men. So as long as we're doing that, everything else will work itself out.
And we loved your time in Columbiana, obviously, but there's a difference to kind of that first gig and second gig. First gig, you're kind of, especially the first couple of years, you're trying to get your feet under you, make sure that you have everything kind of lined up the way you want it. many people might not know that this is number one, your second head coaching gig, but also you're the athletic director as well. I mean, to have to wear both of those hats, no pun intended, what are the challenges for you? And maybe is there a sanctuary of being on the diamond sometimes that you don't necessarily have to be at 80 other places in Beloit?
Yeah, absolutely. Being the AD, it's definitely some things come up. We've been at it for 3 weeks now, and some stuff, your days don't go as you plan all the time. When you're in the classroom, you kind of have more of a set schedule. As the AD, I have ideas of things that I want to do, but sometimes we don't quite get to them. Trying to squeeze in what I'm trying to do as a baseball coach while also taking care of all the other coaches. It can be tough sometimes, but I really try to distinguish, I come in really early a lot of times to get work done so I can make sure that I take care of all my other people first before I get to it. But you mentioned it, being out on the diamond is a sanctuary. We kind of can escape a little bit, the day-to-day of everything that's going on. And we can just sit out there. Being at our place is something that's incredibly special. So going out there, whether it's at lunchtime or going out before we scrimmage or before practice, just getting it ready and sitting in the dugout until 8 at night, until we were there Friday until it was so dark. There was no other choice just to go.
Wow.
That's just something that I enjoy and we enjoy. So it does kind of get you away. But, again, the way I always looked at AD is you're kind of head coach of all the coaches. They're your people, and I want to make sure I take care of them, and but while also taking care of my players and our team. So you got to have a fine line of being able to decipher and cut myself off from both jobs.
Yeah, and spring is going to be the hardest time to be an AD with the weather and schedule changes and having to navigate all that. But what kind of a luxury is it to know, like, hey, my baseball schedule is right in front of me. I don't have to contact 3 coaches because I'm one of them. Does that make ADing in the spring a little bit easier?
Well, it's interesting because the winter this year was kind of crazy. We had a bunch of middle school cancellations. We had to move around a bunch of girls basketball games due to Coach Shields' son playing a long way in the national championship for Mount. And the winter coaches asked me, like, hey, great, sorry that you have to do all this. I've been doing it for 8 years. The one thing that about baseball coaches and Northeast Ohio baseball coaches, we are this community, and we are always communicating and working on rescheduling and finding games. I got 10 emails today for people looking for scrimmages, over the next few days. We were always in communication. So it wasn't something that's really new. I'm used to it. Erin Heasley, the AD at Columbiana, always kind of gave me that freedom. And she was very open to whatever I wanted to do, wherever we wanted to go and whoever we wanted to play. So those things I was kind of experienced, and I've always really enjoyed it. So yeah, the spring can get crazy, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to work that puzzle and move stuff around. And, sometimes you have your schedule and you like your opponents, but then there's somebody else and you're like, ooh, can we go somewhere we've never been? What's that experience going to be like for our kids?
We've talked a lot about expectations. We talked with AP, we talked with Boston. I want to get away from expectations. What has changed since you guys have won the state championship? That people don't realize that, sometimes there's teams on your schedule that want to play you more. Sometimes there are teams on your schedule that want to play you less. Has anything changed more than the schedule? Has anything changed with the community, with how the team is treated, with, gym time, things of that nature? Just because you bring home a state championship, there's something to hang your hat on, so to speak.
I mean, the community was great. They were still supplying. We were still doing stuff all the way through the summer. Different things that people would offer us. Hey, like there was a parade, and we went bowling, and dinners, and just indoor golf. Just a lot of people were very into just kind of showing their thanks. Other than that, things haven't really changed a whole lot. I mean, we rolled right into football season. That really extended our baseball season, went into the towards the end of June. And by the time everything was done, it was mid-July. Then we roll into football. We know how great our football program is. And then we roll into basketball. We've had, a lot of success these last few years. So, we make long tournament runs. I think the expectations for all our sports kind of stepped up. Our athletes saw what they can do if they really put the time in dedicate themselves. And not only, it just hasn't changed just baseball. It's kind of changed the mentality of all of West Branch athletics. We always felt that we're great, but we can be the best and we will be the best. So that's the biggest change I've seen, more than just the baseball program. Our kids do a great job of knowing what it takes. And, I heard Anthony talking a little bit about, we're in the gym a lot. We don't have a real good facility. We're in a gym, we're in a parking lot, but taking advantage of that. And then also listening when we do talk sessions, we're in on the board. So when we go out to the field, it's not, we don't have to stand around. We're always constantly moving. So I think that changed a little bit, but I think West Branch athletics is, unbelievable, and our expectations are high no matter what. So that state championship didn't change it. It just proved it.
As we're talking about changes, I know every year a team is a little bit different. You're adding some new faces and incoming players. You lose some faces, you lose some personalities. In what ways, as a coach, do you see this team a little bit different, or a little bit more of a different personality this year than last year?
Last year we had a group, Coach Molinex has mentioned a whole bunch of times, that had played together since they were like 8 years old. They, whether it was locally or then they started traveling together, and they kind of just knew each other and grew up together. A lot of those kids, those 5 seniors, were all part of that. They're gone. So, that dynamic has changed a little bit, and we're introducing, we got a couple sophomores, a freshman that have a good chance of really helping us on the varsity level. So, kind of introducing them that dynamic. But at the same time, with you just taught, Boston and Perry have been 4-year starters. They've been guys that have been here for a long time. So we have a nice mix of the older players that have been doing this for a long time with the younger players, and the leadership. That kind of dynamic is what is really kind of making us grow. I think our young guys are seeing what it takes to become the best that they can be, and understanding that they're going to make mistakes, and when they make mistakes, it's okay, and we're just going to work on fixing them. I always tell our kids, if you make a mistake, we're going to coach you. We're not yelling at you, we're coaching you. So sometimes it could be louder than other times, but we're coaching you. So I think that dynamic is a little bit different, but overall, a lot of these kids play together all fall. They play together in the winter, so they know each other, and they're friends. And they like to be together.
Ryan, one of the greatest appreciations I have for you, and have had since I've met you, is you've always taken technology and used it as a teacher. No matter where you go, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on the ball field, what pieces of technology do you think have helped you become a better coach along the way, coming even into this year?
I mean, I watch a lot of video. One thing I love Major League Baseball, so I use the MLB film room all the time. I actually made cut-ups today for something that happened in our scrimmages our scrimmage on Friday. Kind of showed the scenario, the exact same scenario that happened in our scrimmage, and kind of what we did wrong, and showcased it in the major league setting. And because the major leaguers, they do it the best, but it's all the same. The game is the same from our level all the way up. So I really try to use the video. Video in baseball is a little bit different than what you find in other sports, just because the access is so much more limited. We're actually going to we're getting a camera. We're going to, a huddle camera this year, which should be up here in the next week or so, to be able to try to break down our game so our kids can watch their at-bats, but that's something they've never really been able to do before. So I think that can help us moving forward. But, just finding stuff on YouTube and talking to coaches and having them send me different, drills. And, I learn from other people, and I steal from other people, and people love to showcase. But, that MLB film room, I'm telling you, it's amazing, because it's got stuff way back from the last 8-10 years that you can do cut-ups of. It's great.
DJ brought up your schedule a little bit earlier, and how much teams want to beat you now, and how much of a target that leaves on your back. Who are some teams that pop up this year, outside of the ABC that we all know that you're going to be playing in? Who are some teams that pop up that you're kind of excited about, that you're excited to play and excited to test yourself against, and you want to see where the dice roll when you go on the field?
I love playing teams in the AAC. Boardman, Campfield, Howland, Fitch. We have them all on the schedule. We actually tried Harding. It just didn't work out. They were full at the time. I love playing those teams to kind of showcase where we can be, in that Mahoney County, Trumbull County area, because I think, I have a lot of respect for those teams. Boardman, Campfield, Fitch have done amazing things for a long time. Howland's been very good. So I think in our non-conference schedule, how we play against them. We played them last year, even a year before, and it kind of showcases where we are and, you know, the type of team. We're actually scrimmaging Fitch tomorrow. I think it'll be a good one for us just to see where we are, see our younger kids, see, you know, bigger school with a lot of depth and what they can do. We don't have the Federal League teams on the schedule this year right now, but, you know, I'm always looking to play the best, especially when the rainouts come. So, you know, if that's what happens, we'll go there. But I do know when those rainouts start happening, the teams are going to want to play us are the better teams, and that's what we're looking at. We don't always look at our record, our overall record, especially with 7 divisions now. Where you fall, you know, there's 40-some teams in our district. Where you fall because of your overall record isn't as big of a deal as how you're playing when that tournament comes around. So we're going to continue to try to challenge ourselves. You know, we got Mooney and Ursuline at the end of the year too. They're always a good challenge heading into the tournament. So those are teams we're really looking for. We added Keystone this year. Never played them before. They've been a quality program, you know, west side of Cleveland for a long time. So, you know, I think that's good. Our kids don't know anything about them, and I love playing games like that where they don't know the opponent doesn't really know us, and we're just going to go out and play baseball knowing that we're going to get the best from them that they have.
All right, naturally, I've got to ask this question. Going into 2025, what do you think is going to be your calling card at the beginning of the season, and will it still be your calling card when the season closes shop for you guys, probably in mid-June?
I mean, it always starts with pitching and defense. Our pitching coaches, Sean Alisas and Gino Sabatini, are unbelievable. We have lost a lot of pitching innings from last year, and they're doing a great job trying to, you know, find guys that can replace that. You know, we're not going to find a Bo Alisas, but we're going to find guys that can eat up innings, whether it's 2 or 3 guys that might end up eating those innings and providing the support. But our pitchers are taught to throw strikes, be in the zone, have command, because the defense behind them is going to you know, be exceptional. And we really, really focus a lot on defense. You know, Coach Molinex was talking today, it's 21 outs. That's what we're always looking for and finding ways to get those 21 outs. So I think that was our calling card last year. You know, offensively, we were pretty good offensively. But when it came down to the tournament, it was defense and pitching that kept us in those games with clutch hitting. You know, the goal by the end of the year is hopefully our bats have come around a little bit more as the weather warms up. But if we can continue to play pitch and play defense the way that we know we can, you know, it's hard to beat.
When like you said, you're not going to find another Bo Alisas. You lose that arm in the mound. Do you have to have any conversations with your guys like, hey, don't try to be Bo Alisas, be yourself, because they feel the pressure of trying to step into those shoes and try to be that special?
Yeah, I do think kids look at, hey, I want to be like that person. It's okay to want to be like them and have that success, but you can't just jump to it. Bo worked really, really hard to get to where he was. Sometimes guys want to jump the gun in that sense. But, you know, I look at things we talk, you're your own person. You bring a different set of skills and you want to utilize those skills to the best that you can. So we never want to be somebody else. We can mimic their work ethic, mimic some of the other things that they do, but we want to use the skill set that we have. We got guys they're different. They're built different. You know, Bo was 6'6" and, you know, real long and worked real fast and had great command of the strike zone. And we want to work to get that. And whether it's 2 guys that get there, it's okay. If it's 3 guys, it's okay. And for our kids to understand that whatever you can provide you can provide on the mound is valuable. And whether that is just a couple innings, it's okay. And be the person that you are and don't try to be somebody else.
Coach, we appreciate you stopping by as always. Always a pleasure to talk to you, whether it's about baseball or anything for that matter. So best of luck to you this year. We'll be rooting for you, certainly. And you're always welcome here, my friend.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, DJ, that was a great set of interviews from West Branch. I got you.
Thank you.
But great set of interviews from West Branch. We had a lot of fun last night doing all 3 of those in consecutive order.
Yeah, and I mean a 4-pack here today on YSN Live. Yeah. So a lot of content that'll all be going to the website. playing a little catch up, man. I was just looking at the schedule of March, and no pun intended, there's a lot of green on it, buddy.
Yeah, a lot of green.
You, Ty, have been absolutely killing it. So continued. I mean, we got more tomorrow. We have tomorrow's very special show. Very, very special show. It is the YSN All-Star Draft. We'll be having it live. It starts at noon. The Wheel of Destiny is dusted off and brought back out. One of my favorite nights. It really is. I really like because there's a little bit of ad lib, which we love. I love probably more than you so. But there's also an element of talking about these kids, highlighting them, and they tune in because they want to know what team they're playing on, who they're playing with.
Right.
So I'm excited. The first time we've ever done it in at noon. So
yeah, high noon. Here we come.
I'm kind of
the coaches
excited
are tuning in because they're just anxious to see what uniform they have to get out.
Yeah, I know. They're all pissed. They're all pissed off right now. They're like, "Come on, you guys can't have this on.
Come on, guys.
Last Saturday. Come on, we're just dragging it out now." Also working on the events schedule. It will be posted here shortly after the show on YSN social medias. I was supposed to get that out last night. I apologize. A lot going on. A lot of wheels in motion. So we have that. That'll be out literally right after the show. I just have to put another set of eyes on it and make sure that it's accurate. And then we're good. Anthony, a big show tomorrow, like we said, and then Thursday and Friday. Hey, we'll see you later. We're not coming to work on Thursday and Friday. You shouldn't be watching
the tournament. Yeah, we're bowing to the tournament.
Yeah, you should be watching these two idiots at noon on Thursday and Friday. You should be watching the NCAA tournament. Everybody's going to be watching. So we figured, why the hell aren't we? So we, in fact, will be watching the NCAA tournament. So just be ready for that. And we'll take a couple days off, and we got to get ready for the All-Star game on Saturday as well. And then we'll be back on Monday to tell you all about it. So tomorrow will be our last show for the week.
After tomorrow, we'll come back and it'll be officially spring sports. Like that's the day. It's our opening day for a full schedule. At least we have a couple of games that have been happening here this week over in PA. You can find recaps of those on ysnlive.com. Beaver softball with a win last night, but opening day for a full slate of schedule will be that Monday.
I love it. I'm excited for it. And then we're cruising towards April at a breakneck pace. So, well, you know what they say. I mean, when we get to April, the year's over, essentially.
Right.
I mean, it's like April, it'll just go boom, and then we're in June, and then we're talking about football again. So enjoy these last 2 months.
Nah.
Oh, and there's football coaches out there that are like, oh, what do you got against football? No, I have nothing against football except for it is a absolute. It just eats your life, just like drinks it like it's a straw. Just
we respect our football coaches, but try being a media company for 65 plus teams during football season, and then we'll see if you're a little bit dreading a football season too.
It's just it's
like
Monsters Inc. I mean, I'm looking at that closet door and I'm like, I'm tired. I just want to take a nap. And I know as soon as I close my eyes, that thing just busts out of the closet. Just So, all right, it is time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electrical, and yes, you can visit them on the web 24/7, 365. But first, Anthony, as always, our sponsors, who we did not have a chance to pay homage to today, starting with our friends at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Greenwood Chevrolet, they go the extra mile for you. So we try to do the same here on this show and on YSN every day, going the extra mile for our athletes and our communities. But we follow the lead of Greenwood Chevrolet. They'll go the extra mile for you, whether you are in the need of a new or used vehicle, or maybe you have a car that needs some service and you want access to their service department. Either way, the people over there at Greenwood Chevrolet will take the most care of you, and you can find them in Austintown. Greenwood Chevrolet, they go the extra mile for you. Check them out.
And if you're one of those cool kids out there that are looking for a sweet looking Toyota, And I'm talking like super sweet looking, like Toyota Tundra, the new ones. 25s are out. 26 is on the way. You got to check out our friends at Toyota of Warren. Tino and the whole crew over there are going to take care of you. We've got great service departments. We've got great finance departments. They're going to get you in something that you love at the price that you love even more than that. So make sure you check out Toyota of Warren, proud sponsor of your sports network. It's Spark time. Twiggy, what's your spark?
My spark goes out to Trumbull County. They had their get-together last night where they announced the players of the year in basketball. Nick Ryan on the boys' side, Ava Hewlett on the girls get the Trumbull County players of the year from last year. So shout out to both of those outstanding athletes. And we've covered them quite a bit over the last 4 years. So we're proud of both of them, and congratulations on being named the county player of the year.
Yes. Congratulations, Nick, Ava. Very proud of you. They represent the brand always and very, very well. My spark happens to be this weather is phenomenal, man. It's 64 degrees today. It's going to be almost 80 degrees tomorrow. Get out. Get out of your house.
Because it's not lasting.
No, I had a post last week and I was so excited. I was on the porch and I gave props to our dear friend Andrew DePaulo. And I know you saw it, Ant. He immediately said, "Hey, enjoy it because snow's coming next week." Dang it, Andrew!
Andrew, come on, man.
Spoiler alert, number one. Secondly, come on. Like, I had my legs kicked up. I'm ready.
Let us have this.
Beautiful. I mean, I'm looking. There's beauty. And then just poop raining from the sky, courtesy of Andrew DePaulo. Just crapping on my parade. Get out there and love it because it'll be back at some point. But it's not full time yet.
Not in the next couple of days.
She's a contract employee right now, so she's sporadic. So get out there today. Get out there tomorrow. Go on those walks. Those nice things that you got to go on. And hey, if you're in the area tonight, an evening with Carlos Baerga, championship talk about the 95 ALCS championship. Cleveland Indians. I will be emceeing that, and hope you can make it out. There's more information on the website somewhere. That's a terrible promo. But it's in Austintown tonight. Looking forward to being there, and I'll have lots of stories, I'm sure, tomorrow and into next week. So that is a show. 4-pack of excitement for you today. Thank you to Jen Coons. Thank you to Coach Wolf. Thank you to Boston Molinex, and thank you to Anthony Perry for stopping by. Anthony, thank you to you, my friend. Well done. Let's have a day tomorrow and let's call it a week. What do you say?
Do it.
And then
Wheel of Destiny, it's coming. Let's go.
You love the Wheel of Destiny.
I love it. Love it.
Love the Wheel of Destiny.
More money. Big money, big money, big money, big money. Stop.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. We will see you tomorrow at high noon with the YSN All-Star Game drafts. Right here on YSN Live. Have a good one. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.